Hey, Kristal, Kiara and Lily, you have your own version of my theme song? Let's hear it. Wow, that was amazing. Thank you. Here we are with chapter 9. We are now moving on to multiply out brackets. Oh, I love brackets. Who doesn't, Adam? Who doesn't? And let's start off with some National 4 revision when we are multiplying out just a single bracket. It was way back, many years ago when we were in National 4 that we first learned how to expand brackets. So you were given a question such as this. And it said, expand these brackets. And it had 3 bracket x plus 2. And the way that we were introduced to that was by thinking about everybody's favourite shape. It's a rectangle. It is indeed, yeah. We thought about just a rectangle like this. And I would have said to you, how do you work out the area of that rectangle? Oh, I know. Go on then, Colin. What do?
Well, you multiply the length by the breadth. So in this case, it would be 8 times 3, or 3 times 8, it doesn't really matter. But the area would be 24 square metres.
It was indeed, yes. That is how you work out the area of a rectangle. Why are we doing this? Where does the 3 bracket x plus 2 come from? Well, let me tell you, Adam, it comes in because if we had a question that was a bit tougher than this, imagine if we had to work out the area of this rectangle here where the length was x up to this point. We know this is x and we know we've got 7 more than the x. That is the length, x up to here and then 7. And the breadth, let's say the breadth was x. How do we get the area of this rectangle?
Oh, can I answer this one?
Yes, you can, Charlotte. What would you do? Brilliant. It's still going to be length times breadth, but what is the length? What is the distance from here to here? Oh, would that be x? And then you're adding on 7, so is it just x plus 7? It is indeed, yeah. You would have the x plus 7 for the length. And what would you be multiplying that by? Yeah, I'd be multiplying that by the breadth. So the length is the x plus 7. We're putting brackets around that. Otherwise, we would just be multiplying the 7 by the x. So we put brackets around that to show we would work out that x plus 7. We've got the whole of the x plus 7. And you're timesing that by the breadth, which is x. Another way of writing that, though. Don't we just put the x in front of the x at 7? We do, yeah, that's perfectly right, Lily. You would have the x in front of the x plus 7 and you would just write it like that. And what we found was that we would end up with, well, if you think about this question here, for this wee bit here, for this square that you would have, if you did the length there times the breadth, you would do the x times the x. So you would really do the x times the x and end up with x squared. And then for this part, you would end up with the 7 for the length, and the breadth here is still x, from the bottom to the top is still x, so it'd be the 7 times the x, so you'd have 7x. And because of that, you would have the x squared plus the 7x, and that is going to be the area of that rectangle. So when you start to bring in unknowns, that is how you would do it. You would split it up and you would do the x times one term and then x times the other term. So you would do the x times the x for x squared and then x times 7 to get 7x. And for the total area, you would add them together. We very quickly got rid of the rectangles though.
Oh, but I liked rectangles.
That's okay, Adam, they will be back. And we moved on just to questions like this, where it was multiply out the brackets and we had 3 times the x plus 2. And to answer questions like that, we took the term that's outside the brackets and multiplied it by everything inside the brackets. So we did the 3 times the x, which gave us 3x. Good. And then we did the 3 times by the 2. And the 3 times 2 is 6. Brilliant. And because it's positive 2, it would be positive 6. So we write down plus 6. And that's your answer. You can't simplify it, so it stays as 3x plus 6. Let's try the next one. Do the 7 times the 8. That gives you, brilliant, that gives you 56. And then you've got the 7 times the positive 3x. So you know it's going to be a positive because 7 is positive, this is positive. 7 times 3 is 21. And you've also got the x. Brilliant. Let's try another one. If you've got the a times by the b plus c, you would do the a times the b and then the a times the c. If you work that out, you end up with ab plus
I see.
Well done. Yeah, that's right. With D, if you've got x bracket x plus 2, you would do the x times the x to get x squared. And then you would do the x times the 2 to get 2x. Good. And again, it's going to be plus 2x. Woo! Let's try some of these ones. This time there are negatives thrown in various places.
Oh no, not negatives.
Don't worry, it's dead easy, Marty. You will still be able to do it. With this one, you'd have 5 bracket d take away 3. So do 5 times d, and then 5 times negative 3. So 5 times d is 5d. Good. And then you would have negative, because the 5 is a positive and the 3 is a negative. Positive times negative gives you a negative. So it really becomes negative. And 5 times 3 is 15. So you can imagine that as just 5d take away 15. Let's try another one. X bracket 2 take away x. So do the x times the 2 and then the x times that negative x. What would you get for that one, Sally? X times 2? 2x. Good. And then x times negative x. Negative x squared. Well done, Sally. You got it. Good. If you do 4x times by the 6x take away 5, you do the 4x times the 6x, and then the 4x times by the negative 5. So 4x times 6x. Kieran, what do you get for that one?
Well, I think you do the 4 times 6 to get 24, and you'd also have an x times an x, so you'd have x squared, so it's 24x squared.
You're right, Kieran. Good. And if you do the 4x times by the negative 5,
well, if 4x is positive, 5's a negative, positive times negative is a negative.
Good. And the 4x times the 5 then?
Well, 4 times 5 is 20, and you'd also have the x. And I believe I've answered that one correctly, Mr. Thomas. Can I go and get my cup of tea now?
Yes, you can, Kieran, because the answer is 24x squared take away 20x. Well done. Let's try another one, Kiara. Negative 2 bracket x plus 8. Good. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Well done, Kiara. And then it's the negative 2 times positive 8. A negative times a positive is a negative. Good. So we would end up with negative, and 2 times 8 is 16. Good. So negative 2x take away 16. Another one with E, negative 3 bracket g take away h. Once again, take the term outside the bracket and multiply by everything inside. Negative 3 times by g. What do you get for that, Harrison? Good, you get negative 3g. Very well done. And negative 3 times negative h. 2 negatives make a
Positive.
It is positive. And 3 times h is
3h.
brilliant. Well done. Very, very well done. Next one. Negative 7a bracket b plus 3a. So we've got the negative 7a times by b. First of all, Igor, what do you think?
Negative 7ab.
Is right. Yes, you would have negative 7ab. Good. And after that, you've got a negative times by a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. Good. So we've got the negative and 7a times 3a. Well, do the numbers first. 7 times 3 is 21. Good. And the a times the a is a squared. You got it. Example 3, multiply with the brackets and simplify. Notice the last one, example 2, it said expand. It's really the same thing. Either you expand it or you multiply with the brackets. It's just another way of doing it. So it is. So, multiply with the brackets and simplify. What does it mean, and simplify? Yes, you might be able to simplify these answers. Let's try them. So, 7 times by x plus 3 and then add 11. So you take the term outside the brackets and multiply by everything inside the brackets. 7 times x is, good, it's 7x. And we would have a plus 7 times 3, 21. Good. With the plus 11, do you multiply that by the 7?
No, you don't.
Why not?
Because it's not in the brackets.
Alan, you're right, yeah. The 7 times 11 you do not do. Take the term outside the brackets and multiply by everything inside the brackets. 11's not in the brackets, so it stays as plus 11.
Ow, 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 ow.
You sound like a dog there, Douglas. What are you trying to say?
You can simplify that.
You can simplify. Yes, because the number of x's you have would be 7x. It is 7x, yes. And you'd have a 21 and a plus 11. You can put them together because you know what 21 add 11 is. What's 21 add 11? 32. It is 32. For B, we've got 4 times by 2x, take away 5, and then take away 3. So we would do the 4 times the 2x, we would do the 4 times the negative 5, and the take away 3 would just leave as take away 3. Why? Because it's not in brackets. That's right, it's not in the brackets. So 4 times the 2x gives you, brilliant, it gives you 8x. 4 times by the negative 5. John, what's that?
Negative 20.
It is negative 20. And the negative 3, do you multiply that by 4, John?
No, don't try and confuse me. It's not in the brackets. You leave us, take away 3.
You do indeed. Good. And then simplifying that, you've got x's. How many x's do you have?
Oh, I've got loads. My favourite one.
No, I mean in this, how many do you have?
Oh, just 8x.
Good. So you've got 8x there. And then negative 20, take away 3. Was negative 20, take away 3?
Negative 23.
Good. Next one. 3x times by the x, take away 4, and then plus 2x squared. Once again, we've got brackets. Let's multiply the brackets first. So we would have the 3x times by the x, and then 3x times the negative 4, and plus 2x squared would just stay as it is because it's not in the brackets. So, Danielle, 3x times by x gives you
3x squared.
Good. 3x times by negative 4 gives you
Negative 12x.
Good, well done. And the plus 2x squared
Stays as plus 2x squared because it's not in the brackets.
Well done, good. And you can simplify this. You can simplify your like terms. If you look at it, you've got an x squared. Then you've also got an x. And you've got another x squared. Put the x squareds together. So you'd have a 3x squared. That's an x, so ignore it now. And then you've got a plus 2x squared. So what's 3x squared and 2x squared? How many x squareds do you have? Good, you've got 5x squared. And to take away 12x, there's no other x's. You've got x squared, but you've got no x's, so it would stay as take away 12x. Woo! D, negative 6 bracket, 5 take away x, then close bracket, then take away x, and then plus 9. So multiplying out the brackets, first of all, negative 6 times 5, then it would be negative 6 times negative x, and the negative x and the plus 9 would stay as it is, because it's not in the brackets. You're getting the hang of this. Good. So negative 6 times 5 gives you...
Is that negative 30?
It is negative 30. Negative 6 times negative x.
Well, a negative times a negative is a positive. And the 6 times the x is 6x.
Thank you, Granda. And the negative x plus 9 would stay as negative x plus 9. If you simplify that, Granda, if you're still awake...
Oh, I've got 6x take away x. 6x take away 1x is 5x.
It is good. And negative 30 adds 9.
Oh, well, I think a wee back to temperature charts when they used to be a thing. A negative 30 degrees, if it then went up by 9 degrees, it'd be a negative 21. So that's the number.
It is indeed, yes. Well done. Are you ready for some more?
Yes!
Here we go. Example 4. Multiply with the brackets. Expand the brackets and simplify. So, first thing we want to do with these is we've got a 10 take away 3 bracket x plus 2. Remember, this is a takeaway and this means multiply out when you've got a number in front of the brackets. If you think about the word BIDMAS or BODMAS, what do you do first? Do you do the subtract or the multiply?
Well, the m would come first.
It does indeed, yes. So you would multiply first of all. So really, you would have the negative 3 times the x and the negative 3 times by the 2. And the 10, you just leave at the start. Just leave that as 10. We are not doing anything with it. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. So we then have 10 take away 3x. And negative 3 times positive 2, well, that's a negative, that's a positive. Same signs add, different signs subtract. So it'll be a negative. So it'll be take away 6.
Oh, we can simplify that.
We can indeed, yes. How many x's would you have?
Negative 3x.
Good. And number-wise?
Oh, I've got 10 take away 6, which is 4.
Positive 4 or negative 4?
10 take away 6 is positive 4.
Good. It's positive 4, so that's what you would have.
Mr. Thomas, could you write that a different way?
You could indeed, Shazeb. Yeah, you could write that as, well, you've got a positive 4, so you could put the 4 first. And the 3x is a negative, so you could write the takeaway 3x. So it's the 4 and the negative 3x. So you can write it that way if you like. Lots of people prefer putting the x terms first though. So you'd have the negative 3x plus 4. But yes, you can write it that way as well, because equally, lots of people don't like starting with a negative, which that then doesn't. Next one, 4x plus 5 bracket 2x take away 1. Once again, you've got the 4x plus, so you've got an add and you've got to multiply out these brackets. If you think about the word BIDMAS or BODMAS, let's go BIDMAS. In the slowest writing ever, then we've got an add, we've got an addition, but we've also got to multiply out these brackets. And notice the multiply comes before the add. So we're multiplying out the brackets before we're dealing with this bit here with 4x plus. So 4x stays as 4x, we're doing nothing with it just yet, and we're multiplying out the brackets. So the positive 5 times the positive 2x, two positives are positive, and 5 times the 2x is positive 10x, and positive 5 times negative 1, same signs add and different signs subtract. So you'd have the negative, that's positive, that's a negative, so you'd have negative, and 5 times 1 is 5. Woo! After that, you've got x's, you've got 4x, and you've got plus 10x. Imagine if you had 4x's in one room, you had 10x's in another room, you'd have 14x's altogether. Woo, wild party time. And you've got the negative 5, so you'd have 14x take away 5. Next one, we've got x plus bracket 3 take away 7x.
What do you do if there's no number in front of the brackets? Because there's a 3 in front of the brackets, there's a 5 in front of the brackets, and there's nothing there.
Can I answer this one, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, you can. What are you thinking, Jake?
I think you could just put a 1 in front of the brackets, and you can imagine it as 1 times the 3, and the 1 times the negative 7x.
You're right, Jake. Yeah, you could do that. So you would end up with the x just staying as it is, because once again, you've got a plus and you've got the multiply with brackets. So the multiply with brackets would be first, and you could imagine it as 1. So 1 times 3 would just be plus 3. And the 1 times the negative 7x is just negative 7x. Oh, that's like the same thing, just out of the brackets. It is indeed, yeah, because it's multiplied by 1, so it's really just staying as it is. But we're getting rid of the brackets. Then simplifying, how would we simplify that?
Oh, we've got an x, 1x, and we're taking away 7x, which that gives us negative 6x.
Well done, good. So you'd have 1x take away 7x is negative 6x, and plus 3 would just be plus 3. We're doing nothing else with it. Mr. Thomas, sorry, I've just been running. Could you write that a different way? Could you write as 3 take away 6x? You could indeed, yeah. You could also write that as 3 take away 6x. That also works. Oh, thank goodness. No problem. Last one with D, 7 takeaway x plus 6. Once again, you could just imagine a 1 in front of the brackets there. There's absolutely nothing there, so just imagine a 1. But it's the negative, so you can imagine it as negative 1 times the x and negative 1 times by the 6. Either way, the 7 would just stay as it is. And if you do negative 1 times x, that gives you, brilliant, it gives you negative x. And negative 1 times by the positive 6. Same signs add, different signs subtract. That's a negative 1. That's a positive 6. They're different signs, so it becomes negative 6. And from there, x's, you've got a negative x. There's no other x's to add or subtract, so it just stays as take away 1x. But number-wise, you've got a 7 and a take away 6. We all know what 7 take away 6 is. It's positive 1. And once again, you could write that backwards. You could write it as the positive 1 and the x is negative, so you could do 1 take away x. So you've got the 1 and the negative x. That's also fine. With this one, example 5, multiply with the brackets and simplify. So this time we have 2 bracket 4x add 3 plus 3 bracket x take away 1 to begin with. So we've got 2 sets of brackets. You just want to start off multiplying out the brackets. So you do the 2 times the 4x, then you would do the 2 times the 3. Then you move on to your next bracket and you'd imagine it as positive 3 times x and positive 3 times negative 1. So to start with, 2 times the 4x is 8x. 2 times by the 3 is positive 6. Good. Positive 3 times x is plus 3x. Brilliant. And positive 3 times negative 1. Same signs add, different signs subtract. That's a positive, that's a negative, so it becomes negative 3.
I can simplify that.
Go for it then. What would you have, Clark? 8x add 3x.
11x.
Good. And 6 take away 3.
Positive 3.
Brilliant. Well done. Next one with B, 7 bracket 3 plus x take away 9 bracket 1 take away 2x. So we've got the 7 times by the 3. then the 7 times by the positive x, then the negative 9 times the 1, and then the negative 9 times by the 2x. So we've got 7 times 3, that is 21. 7 times by the positive x is positive 7x. Negative 9 times 1 is negative 9, and negative 9 times negative 2x, same signs add. Same signs add. Good. So negative times negative is a positive. So it's add. And 9 times 2 is 18. And we've also got that x in there. So it's plus 18x just on the end. Deal with the numbers and letters separately. So we've got 7x add an 18x. 7x add 18x is good. 25x. And number-wise, 21 take away 9. Good. Very well done. It would be positive 12. Could you write that as 12 add 25x? Yeah, you could do. That's absolutely fine as well. Next one for C, 6 times by 3x take away 11, take away x plus 4 in brackets. So once again, we would be doing the 6 times by the 3x, then the 6 times by the negative 11, and we've got brackets here. Again, if there's nothing in front of the brackets, just imagine a 1. So you could treat that as negative 1 times x, and then negative 1 times by 4. So 6 times 3x is 18x. 6 times negative 11 is negative 66. Negative 1 times x is negative x. And negative 1 times 4, negative 4. Good. X's first, or numbers, doesn't really matter which way you do it. But x's, you've got 18x take away 1x, which is 17x. And negative 66 take away 4.
Oh, is that a temperature thing again?
It is. If the temperature was at negative 66 and it dropped another 4, what would it be at?
It's going further down into the negatives, so it'll be negative 70.
Well done, good. And the very last example in this first lesson of National 4 Division. 6x bracket 5 take away x, close bracket, plus 2x bracket x plus 4. So once again, it's the 6x times by the 5. It's the 6x times the negative x. Then it's the positive 2x times the x, and the positive 2x times by the 4. If you work your way along there, 6x times by 5 is... Good, it's 30x. 6x times negative x. Well, that 6x is a positive, that's a negative, so the answer would be a negative. And 6x times by x is 6x squared. Brilliant. Then positive 2x times x. Positive 2x squared. Good. And positive 2x times by 4. Brilliant. You've got this. It's going to be positive 8x. With the x squared, normally again people start with the highest power of x and then write it in descending order. So starting with the x squared, negative 6x squared, add 2x squared. Well, if you've got negative 6 and then you add 2, you're going up towards the positive numbers. So you would be at negative 4x squared, and 30x add 8x is 38x. Woo! Again, sometimes people don't like starting with the negatives, so you could write that if you like as 38x take away 4x squared. Hopefully that is ringing a bell and you're remembering that from National 4. It is just a wee bit of revision from National 4. If you wish to practice some more of these questions, there's a couple of good exercises. Either the TJ Intermediate 1 book, page 13, exercise 1.1, or the Zeta Maths book, National 5, if you log on to that. Look at page 28 to 30 and exercises 5.1 to 5.3. There's some revision of multiplying out a single bracket. Good luck. Have fun. Woo! See you later. Kristal, Kiara, Lily, you want to give us that theme song one more time? Do it. Whoa! It's like the Chipmunks. Thank you very much. Woo!